Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back with a new video. Two Good Samaritans in Indiana. I'm going to start off this video by talking about the story of the Good Samaritan. Jesus was asked, I think it was by one of the Sadducees or the Pharisees, what does it mean? Basically, what does it mean to love your neighbor? And he tells the story of a Jew who was traveling alone along a highway. He was accosted by some highwaymen who robbed and attacked him and left him for dead. Now, a rabbi was on the same path, but crossed over to the other side to avoid, and encountering, the Jew that had been attacked. A lower priest, walked up to him, looked down, and then felt some sadness, but didn't do anything other than that. A Samaritan on a donkey approached the man. Now, the importance of this mentioning he's the Samaritan. The Israelites and the Samaritans were bitter enemies. So it was kind of like a kill on sight kind of situation between the two of them. But in this story, the Samaritan, got off his donkey, rendered aid to the beaten Jewish guy. Put him on his donkey, took him to an inn, so he can get some rest. He paid the innkeeper for 2 nights, and he said if he stays over even longer, just bill it to me when I come through again. And then Jesus asked, so which one of the three is the man's neighbor? And showed love to his neighbor. And one of the listeners said the one who showed him compassion, or the one who showed him mercy. And Jesus said, and basically said, I want you to do the same. I tell that story because I had to tell that story first because there seems to be some misconceptions about what a Good Samaritan is. But before I get into that, I'm going to talk about one of the Good Samaritans that was mentioned past couple of days, Nicholas Bostic. In Lafayette, Indiana, there's a guy, a pizza delivery guy. He's 25 years old. He's driving at night and he sees a house on fire. Now, he can't call 911 because he actually left his phone at the house. He can't double back in time to get his phone because he's concerned about whether there be any people inside. So what he does is he gets out of his car and goes into the house, trying to see if there's anyone in there. He rescued 5 people: a 1-year-old, a 6-year-old, 2 13-year-olds, and an 18-year-old. One of the 13-year-old was a friend that was staying over for a sleepover. And when he got the 6-year-old out, and the fire department had arrived, he couldn't leave out the front of the house again. So what he had to do is he had to actually go back up. He had to go upstairs, and he bust a window out. He wrapped his hand up, bust out one of the windows. He said he held the 6-year-old like a football and jumped from a 2-story window down to the ground. Now he injured his arm, which I imagine he did from breaking the window, and he had an injury on his leg. He also was injured from smoke inhalation, but he made it out. He carried the 6-year-old to the fire department, to the firemen, and they had to sit down. And the first thing he had said was when they were putting a tourniquet on his right arm when he had to cut, was, "Is the baby okay? Is the baby safe?" And he said, "They said the baby safe, 100%." And they said it reassured him. And there's pictures of him in the hospital. He's on I think he had been intubated, probably from the smoke, from the harm due to the smoke inhalation. That is a Good Samaritan. A man who went out of his way. He didn't have to, but he went out of his way to go and save 5 people facing extraordinary odds, and even facing personal injury. But he made it out. He rescued all 5 people inside the house. The house burned down completely. The only thing that was left was a family artifact that's normally hanging up on the wall. And they actually, the family invited Bostic to their church to come talk about basically what is a miracle that he was able to get there in time to rescue all those people. And that's a great thing. That's a good story to hear. I mean, it's and there's a GoFundMe page that was up. I think so far it passed $200,000. That'll pay for his medical bills. But he's a hero. That was a great story of heroism. Another story that comes out of Indianapolis. I'm pretty sure you guys heard of the Greenwood Mall shooting. And that's and this is another Good Samaritan. Now this story, a 20-year-old decided to grab some guns, go into the mall, and set up to where he was going to do a mass shooting. He had several hundred rounds with him. He had 2 rifles and a handgun. And I think he said one of the rifles they had, and it was in the bathroom, but he basically get himself prepped to do what he's going to do. He shot. Now while he's in the bathroom, another 22-year-old, is carrying. His name is Elijah Dickon. I gotta say, he has the weirdest. I never seen Elijah spelled such a weird way, but that's beside the point. You'll see how it's spelled when I leave a link in the comment section to both situations. He's there with his girlfriend, and the whole thing apparently lasts 15 seconds. The killer comes out the bathroom, shoots a guy who's heading towards the bathroom. The guy he kills, I think his last name is I want to say it's either Lopez or Ramos. I forgot, but the first guy he kills was actually carrying a pistol. Now keep in mind, this is also about a month after constitutional carry became enacted in the state of Indiana. And on top of that, the mall is a gun-free zone because it has one of those signs that tells people how to bring guns inside. That actually reminded me of another mall shooting that happened where it was actually ended by a man who was carrying, who basically ignored that sign and carried anyway. I think that story was out of Iowa. Anyway, Elijah was 40 yards away, told his girlfriend to hang back. He positioned himself up against a pole. 2 other people were shot. A couple was shot. This happened in a food court. Elijah sent 10 rounds from a 40-yard distance. 8 of those rounds hits the killer, and the killer tries to retreat back to the bathroom to where I guess to get his other rifle, but he later died. And I saw a picture of his dead body. This guy was frail. 40 yards with a pistol. 8 out of 10 shots hits this frail looking killer. That's a miracle, and that warrants Elijah to be called the Good Samaritan, because he put his life because he was also being shot back at when this was going on. He put his life on the line to save not just his girlfriend but other people in the mall, people who probably wouldn't even liked him if they found out he was carrying, or for any other reason that could be drummed up. He risked his life to save other people. Despite that, and also receiving accolades from the owners of the mall, despite the fact that they had no concealed weapons sign on their front doors, and receiving praise from the police department they themselves call him a hero for what he did. You have some people. Like on Twitter saying that he's not a good Samaritan because good Samaritans don't shoot people, they don't kill people. A good Samaritan will have a first aid kit. I saw one of those comments. One of the women on The View, they say he had lucky. It was just a lucky shot that he was there. Shannon, I think Shannon Watts of Mom's a Man Action, and some other woman for some other gun control group, basically saying that they don't think it's right to call him a good Samaritan because of what he did. These people, they're just mad because he shot down, literally and figuratively, their whole argument in terms of keeping guns out of sensitive areas, out of keeping guns out of the hands of individuals who, by the way, he never received any formal training. He doesn't have a law enforcement or military background. And from him, he said the only training he really received was going shooting with his grandfather. Who knows what kind of training his grandfather gave him? But whatever he did definitely came in handy. 40 yards, 10 shots, 8 of them hits the killer. All the while he's being shot at. That is impressive. That is a miracle. And yes, Elijah is a good Samaritan. I don't care what any of the other people say. These other people who don't even care about what about the parable or the man who delivered the parable. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is their narrative and all they care about is using dead bodies to capitalize on to push whatever agenda they have, and they couldn't do that. It is unfortunate that three people were killed at that mall. Well, I would say it was unfortunate 4 people were killed. I will say that it was unfortunate that the murderer had to die, but hey, the murderer's gotta die at some point. Two other people were injured. A woman, I think a 21-year-old woman, and she got shot in the leg. And a 12-year-old had a fragment of the jacket caught in her leg. But yeah, I mean, I don't care. I mean, it's like I said, it's unfortunate that people had to die, but I'm thankful that Elijah had the stones and the skill to go out there and do what he did. So, but those are just 2 good stories I wanted to talk about of good Samaritans here amongst us. And there are other people like that. There are other people out there who will risk their life and limb to save other people because they have love for others, and they have that love that Jesus calls for us to have for one another. So I think it's 2 good stories. Like I said, the articles, those stories will be in the description box. Check them out. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with what was done by Nicholas and Elijah? Have you ever heard of a 40-yard shot with a pistol? 8 out of 10 hitting its target. I gotta say, I've taken shots with pistols up to 50 yards. I tried even 100 yards and 200 yards. It's tricky, but it can be done. And that's it. That was very impressive. From both ends, from both what Nicholas and Elijah did. But please share your thoughts. Leave a comment in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe. Any gripes on this video? Leave a comment or leave me a private message. I'll see what I can do to address the issue. But that's my video. 2 good Samaritans out of Indiana. I'm Edward Jones. You guys take care. Be safe. Stay strapped. And God bless.